time.
Yeah, man.
Well, he hasn't gotten that
I'm gonna know
quarter yet. Yeah. He's
Okay,
Well,
let's talk a little bit about.
my thing is this right now. My thing.
Let's talk a little bit about
What
what.
you saying, Herbert?
Yeah, let's move on and talk a little bit about what's going on as for the disturbances that we're dealing with and the issues. You want to start with that, Gus?
Well, it is something that the whole country is actually realizing that the Black lives matter. Not only Black lives, but all lives matter, and we all know that. But the country is opening their eyes to what's been going on for a while now. Since 2015, 5,417 people have died in the hands of the police. Since 2015, 5,417 people. In 2019 only, 1,098 people died, in the hands of the police. And police brutality and police, excessive use of force is being brought up to light more so now that everybody has a camera on, and everybody can film stuff all the time, 24/7. And people now, since they are home and they cannot go out and distract their mind doing some other things, have been able to actually see, because our society had a veil in front of their eyes, and that veil slowly but surely is being taken away, and now we can see what minorities, not only Black people, but Hispanic, Asians, Blacks, and everybody else have been leaving for a long, long, long time. 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
It's kind of
It's a long time.
interesting.
Pardon me,
Right.
Anthony?
Yeah, but it's kind
You're breaking up, Anthony.
of interesting. I said it's kind of interesting. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Is it
We
better?
can hear you a little bit better now, yeah. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if we're having an internet problem or not. Okay, but it's kind of interesting as you watch and listen to things on social media. I saw two videos. It's in relationship to the veterans. The first one was tension in Vietnam. And this article talked about the number of American soldiers or soldiers of war that were having all kinds of racial issues, even in the combat zone in Vietnam back in the 60s, in the late 60s, and going into the 70s.
Right.
That was really shocking me, that home trying to survive, and yet
Fighting a common enemy.
racial issues. Then there was this movie about Vietnam. Yeah, coming in. Then this movie about Vietnam showed that Viet Cong had this woman to get on the radio and talk about, why are you African Americans or Black soldiers fighting for and it suppresses you at home,
Yep.
that you're not equal. But yet you're here in our country fighting for them against us. And that was an eye opener.
That was
You
an
know,
eye opener
and
for
then
me
the
too
third
when I was.
thing I saw was Army. Yeah. And then the third thing, this Army officer who was at the Naval Academy, and he and his wife were having a very candid conversation about African Americans, Hispanics, and Asians. And it was very derogatory, but
Mhm.
they did not know that their phone was on live stream. So here they are making all of these derogatory statements, comments about the Black soldiers, the Asian soldiers, everybody. And when they found out they were being live streamed, they said, oops,
Yep.
that's your true spirit, stated from the Naval Board. But just think of the number of other
Anthony,
officers
Anthony, can you hear me?
and even enlisted folks that have been racist. Huh?
Anthony,
I can hear me.
You're breaking
uh,
up. You're breaking up.
also,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can. I just want
I guess not.
to ask
Yeah,
you
here.
to the video from John Brown. You read it and you passed it out. You know some of his comments are really going from the 70s to going to
Yes.
where we are today in today's society and in the military. You know, the title of it is "What Am I Thinking?" and what he went through is the environment that
Yes.
soldiers are dealing with today.
I don't know if you guys were able to watch the other day
It's,
an address.
it's unbelievable.
I don't know if you guys were able to watch the other day an address from the commandant of the Air Force Academy to the whole academy, because there was someone that wrote something in somebody's locker, and
Yes,
that was a wonderful thing. That was what the military, that was the military spirit that when I was in the Army, that's what I lived in the Army, that kind of spirit. I particularly was never exposed to any type of racial discrimination while I was in the military. I was lucky because there were other people that did get, you know, were exposed to racial discrimination. I was never, within the military, I was never exposed to that. And when I heard that general talk, addressing the cadre and the staff and the students of the Air Force Academy, that depicted what an officer in the United States military should be like, you know.
Right.
And it was good that he made them record his words, when he told them that if they could not accept somebody for their, their opinions or their race or their color or where they came from, they did not belong in the military, that they needed to get out. And that's the way I feel. If anybody in the United States Armed Forces is not comfortable with people from other places and other races and other, way of thinking, they need to get out. because the United States armed forces are not a place for them. They need to get out and find somewhere else to
Well,
their views and expose their venom of whatever it is that they got inside somewhere else, not in the United States Armed Forces,
Right.
because that's not a place for them. They need to get out. I'm
Anthony?
going to get off my soapbox.
well, we said on this show many times. We've said on this show many times that the military is a snapshot of our communities.
Yeah.
Zoom call.
Represent a sector of our country.
Yeah, she just came in.
Yeah.
Every nationality, every religious background, you name it, is there. So when they talk about paradigm shift or culture change, it has to come from the top down. It can't come from the bottom up.
Yep.
And it has to be proven through leadership. And the leaders need to make drastic changes and to eliminate those individuals and situations that causes a problem.
Yep.
Now, I heard you say, Gus, that you never faced any racism. I guarantee you did. It may not have been in your face, but you did.
Probably.
And I need to think about it myself on the different commands that I've had the opportunity to go. No, I know you did. It's just in it, being part of that the broad spectrum of our nation. And I guarantee you dealt with it in the best way you could.
Yeah.
You dealt with it, and you just that spirit inside you made you move forward, and you had that drive to be successful. So as you sit down and think about it, I can recall when I started my company, and the small business administration said, "You're a veteran," and said, "Look, I want you to sit down here and tell me in your military career what type of prejudice situations you think you may have been affected by." And I sat there scratching my head, thinking about it, and all of a sudden it started to flow. Because you oppress it, you keep it inside to move forward to try and be a success in that particular environment.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm sure each one of us
Anthony,
faced it. Yeah.
So let's move to the
Yes.
to the bigger environment. Let's move to the United States and what's going on now with the president of the United States and the leadership that we have in the White House. If the military is for a long time considered a microcosm of society, and it's also you guys just went through it. Even though it's not perfect, it does a better job of being fair and giving people opportunities than we get out in public life.
Yes, and society.
So what can the people do to really to deal with the situation we're in now, Black Lives Matters and all the stuff that's going on? So what can the American people do to work on improving it? Anthony?
Well, I think from my perspective is that it's at the voting booth. That's our first shot to make changes at the voting booth.
Yeah.
Here in Georgia, we're still running into crazy situations whereby on a big voting day, voting machines are not out, or the voting times are not honored.
Yeah.
people failing to come to work at the voting booth because of COVID-19 or whatever. There's all kinds of scenarios, that's creating havoc. But I think personally, the number one thing needs to happen is that individuals need to vote to get bad people out and hold people accountable who are in office to make change.
But the thing is that people try to vote.
That's my
and
perspective.
The suppression, the vote suppression, the efforts from the government, the local governments, to suppress the votes unnecessarily. But it happens, and it is happening. When I voted this weekend, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, whatever, the most recent elections a couple of days ago, the lines were, blocks and blocks long, unnecessarily. And the lines were blocks and blocks long in Black and brown communities, because they're trying to suppress the vote. But even though the lines were that long, people did not quit. They stayed there, because even though they're trying to suppress the vote, people are making them understand that this is not the way that you are going to prevent me from voting. I'm going to stay here, even if it takes me longer than I thought it was going to take me, but I'm going to stay here and I'm going to vote, But the deal is that voting should be the way that we use to change the system. But the system is fighting back by making us
Got to vote.
making it hard for us to vote.
Got to vote.
Yeah.
Well, that is true. And
You got to vote.
in addition to what happened on June the 9th, coming up in November is the general election. And with COVID-19 and going on, the vote by mail is now become an issue. Is it being administrated properly? Is people trying to make it dysfunction on purpose? Those are all issues that we have to deal with too.
It seems to me that they are doing it on purpose, because it happens in selected places.
Of course.
They're very selective on where these
being done on purpose.
Eruptions and long lines happen. It doesn't happen in Buckhead, but it happens. It happens in Camp Creek, happens in Fulton County. But it doesn't happen in Buckhead. In Buckhead, you can go and vote, and it takes you 5 minutes to vote.
Yes.
Over here, it takes you 5 hours. So if it happens, that way, it's telling you something.
It is, and it's telling the people something about the people we put in office. And just to kind of stay with the political situation, it's for an example, the Secretary of State of Georgia and the governor administration. But if we're talking about Georgia, those are the people that administer the program and run the program. So it's telling the people that these people are not doing their job.
Well, they might be doing their job, but to their convenience. It's not that they're not doing their job. They know what they're doing. They're doing their job very well. They're doing their job very well. Their job is to obstruct,
the vote.
to prevent, black and brown and Asian and Hispanic and whatever, the vote, to vote. That's what they're doing. And uh, uh, it is so obvious that that's what they're doing, that people are fighting back by staying in line and by voting, whether they like it or not. They're just making it more difficult, but they're not going to stop people from voting now, because now we know what they're trying to do.
Well,
And
well, that's true. And would you say also the next step would be is to when these people are up for re-election to replace them?
to replace them. And one thing that I noticed on the ballot, when I was looking at the ballot should have a distinctive, uh, it should say so and so Democrat, so and so Republican, so and so independent, so and so this. It just gives you the name. It doesn't tell you what party they belong to. You know, it should say what party they belong to. So if you want to vote them out, you actually know who you're voting out, because there were a lot of names there that I didn't know, I didn't recognize, and I didn't know whether they were Democrats or Republicans or independents. It was just a name. It's just like Anthony, Herman, Gus. You know,
Yeah, you makes a
who knows?
very good point, because I had questions about the same thing that you just went through, and a lot of people after they voted, or even if they voted absentee, they were looking at the ballot, and just looking at the ballot, it does not give you any way to
It
differentiate.
doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you. I brought up that point to the gentleman that was there, one of the poll workers. I said, why doesn't it say here, who this guy is? I knew who Ossoff was, and I knew who, Biden was, and I knew who whoever was, but the rest of them, there was like 300 of them, I didn't know who they were. People running for uh, some state type of job that don't, they don't advertise on TV. They don't have leaflets or pamphlets or none of that stuff. So you don't actually know who they are. It just says incumbent, but incumbent from what party? If you want to get him out because he's one of those people that, is not doing his job, or is doing what Trump wants them to do, and you want them to, to get out, you don't have an idea who they are. Because it doesn't say whether they're Republican or Democrat or independent or, whichever. It doesn't say anything. So that's something that
What we did this year,
we could not hear
what we
you.
did this year
Go ahead.
was to go online and we took the sample ballot. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
A little
Can
better.
you hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah,
Hello?
right.
Okay, what we did this year, we went online and looked at the sample ballot, and we literally did some research on several of the candidates, especially the ones running for the court systems. And we were very concerned with the court system, because the improper prison reform that needs the number of African Americans and young kids being incarcerated for small crimes, small issues over a longer period of time. Now, if you take a look at the incident that just occurred to young man Brooks here in Atlanta, that was shot in the back 2 times
Two times.
by a Atlanta policeman. his concern, yes, he did. He was evidently impaired, but in his mind, he panicked because he was on probation, and he realized that if he was arrested, he was going to go back to jail.
Yeah.
And who knows how long he's going to be going to jail. So Harry is trying to make a change in his life so he could be with his daughter. But yet the system is so mixed up that if once you get into that prison system and into that probation system, you're going to be in that system for a long, long time.
And
Because those individuals have to have a job, they have to pay the price. They can't be wrong. I mean, it's just the slightest issue can land them back in jail. And I'm not saying that this guy, whatever he did, doesn't matter to me. He was out. But for that situation, that lethal use of the weapon was not necessary for that young man. He should be alive today, not dead. And that's why we need police reform, and we need the reform of our penal systems.
Yeah. That infraction that he committed, if he committed an infraction, because the only thing that he did really was fall asleep on the Wendy's line, drive-through line. That's the only thing that he did wrong. That the only thing that they needed to do was tell him, sir, move over there and sleep over there. You know, if you are drunk, get on the other side of your seat. Don't sit on the driver's seat. Go in the back of your car and sleep it off there. And that would have been it. That would have been it, because he wasn't harming anybody. He wasn't driving away.
Let me give you a kick.
He didn't do anything really. Okay, he drank whatever, but the only thing that they needed to do was de-escalate by taking him, put him on the side, or give him a ride home if they wanted to do that. If they wanted to take him off the road, they could have given him the ride home. If it would have been in Buckhead, that guy would have been alive.
That is true. Let me tell our audience,
well, let's take a look.
That who we are, and when we come back, we'll talk about the part of the issue, another issue today, which is defunding the police department. But first, you're listening to WCEG Network on WCEGTalkRadio.com. You can watch us on your smart TV. You can follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. And the call-in number is 1-646-876-9923. And the item that I'm gonna put out there now for either one of you guys is, what does defunding the police department mean, and how and if it should be done?
People misunderstand the defunding of the police.
Well,
people believe that defunding the police means taking the money away from the police and not giving them any money. What it means is using some of the money that is assigned to the police to other causes that would help in policing the community. Instead of having, car 15s and shotguns and whatever, use, employ counselors or other type of social services that would be needed in cases like de-escalation cases, things like domestic violence, that instead of getting police officers as the first resort, would be a police officer with a social service individual, like a counselor or or someone like that, to go into the a situation and try to de-escalate the situation. That's what they mean. You know, using some of that money for community rec centers and stuff like that to keep people to offer more social services than police services, because the police is being tasked to do things that police officers are not trained to do. You know, they're not trained to deal with mental health situations, you know, and a lot of people out of these 5,417 people that have been killed by the police from 2015 until now, a bunch of them have been mental cases. People that have schizophrenia and paranoia and stuff like that, you know, that have problems getting, you know, and go outside on the streets, and the police is not trained to deal with those people. And what do? They shoot them or they taste them. And you know, the only way that they know how to deal with things is by using force. And the fact, believe it or not, that we are bringing soldiers that used to work, that used to be in combat, and they get out of the active service and they transition to police service is proven not to be a very good thing, you know, because soldiers are trained to combat, you know, to do combat, and police is trained or supposed to be trained to, you know, protect and serve. A soldier, when he see a combatant, what do they try to do? They try to neutralize. Police is supposed to be de-escalating, you know, and that's not what it's happening.
That's great. That is great. Mr. Anthony.
Well,
Anthony.
well, you know, I'm sitting over here and I'm being calm, listening to you. But you know, what happened 5 years ago this week? The murder of the 9 individuals in Charleston, South Carolina, my hometown, right? So this young male who commits this hideous crime. Now let me show you about the parity between color and someone else. This young man murders 9 people in a church. He takes a slow drive somewhere and ends up close to North Carolina. And they get him out of his car, and he said he's hungry, and they take him to a Burger King.
They take him to Burger King.
Now here's a young man.
They take him to Burger King, man.
So now here's a young man, fell asleep behind his wheel. The question wasn't asked, are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital? Can we help you? Can we take you home? How can we assist you? No, and the guy gets out, and you can see on the video, he's very calm.
Yeah.
They're having a very nice conversation. They could have said right there, man, look, you failing this test. Park your car here. We're taking you home.
That's all they needed to do.
We're here to serve. We're here to serve.
That's all they needed to do.
That's my job. That's why we're the blue. We're here to serve you, but no. It escalates to the point where you have 2 cops wrestling with this guy on the ground. He panics. As I said before, that penal system in his head, I'm going back to jail. I'm going to be away from my daughter. This policeman who's trained, but yet he gets out and he gets 2 center-ass shots in the man's back. And he has a lawyer that gets on television, on national television, to say that he was doing his job. Now, flip this around. Can you tell me the number of black officers that killed white people?
That's the deal.
Is there
That's
are
the
there
deal
any
there.
statistics like that?
That's the deal there.
I doubt
You know,
it.
that is the deal there. How
Do you think
many?
there's statistics out there, the number of black officers that have killed a white citizen?
That's the deal there. How many? How many have you seen? Not
I bet you
many.
there's no statistics
I
to
bet you
that.
that there is not. I bet you that there is not. And the thing is that if it would have been the other way around, the uproar would be much, much, much larger than what you see now. You know, it would have been all of, and Congress would have done something about it already. If only one, if only one white citizen would have been killed by a black individual, by a black officer, that black officer would have been guilty in a week also, and the Congress would have done something about it immediately. Immediately, they would have done something, you know. And it is something that that fortunately
Well,
society
there
is opening their eyes. Society is opening their eyes because they have seen how, for example, the lady in Central Park that was calling the police, you know, threatening a black man, you know, with the police, saying that calling the 911 and telling them that an African American individual was threatening her and all this other stuff while he was recording her. She was saying that kind of stuff because she knew what to say in order to get the police there to do what the police have been doing lately. Well, not lately, but you know,
Right.
the discrimination is evident now, and everybody's seeing it. You know.
So, do both of you guys think, with this being the last week, 10 days being high profile and pretty much on TV 7 days a week, and Congress and everyone else hearing the issues, what is your take on moving forward? What changes are going to take place? Not what should take place, but in incremental steps, what do you think are going to take place?
I believe there is going to be an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats on the bill that the Democrats put up. They're going to come up with what the Republicans right now are trying to do is just recommend things, and what the Democrats are trying to do is mandate things. So there's going to be a somewhat of an agreement between the two of them. And some things are going to be mandated, and some other things are going to be, you know, like we recommend this, we recommend that. The Democrats are going to try to make it so the chokehold is completely banned, prohibited, and the Republicans right now are just they're just recommending to police departments to, you know, not use the chokehold, while the Democrats are trying to ban the chokehold. And until we as a society understand that it is not right for a police officer to just kill black and brown people just because, you know, we're going to have to continue demonstrating and fighting for our right to live, really.
Okay.
You know.
Anthony? Mr. Anthony? Anthony, can you hear us?
Guys, I think I straight to the core. In my view, we as a people,
You're breaking up, Anthony.
can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You're
Okay,
breaking
what
up.
you guys going to speak then? Because if I'm not stable, you need to go and continue. Okay, go on and continue.
Okay, go
I tell
ahead.
you what, I'm gonna leave and try and come back in. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. While he's doing that, let me just give out a few numbers. Well, in basically, I usually give out numbers about the DDT-14, but these are numbers concerning with the COVID-19 situation that we've been going through the last couple of months. And the number, for example, for if you need clinical services from the medical center in the VA system, the number is 1-844-698-2311. 1-844-698-2311. Caregiver services for veterans, that number is 1-855-260-3274. Again, that's to get caregiver services, 1-855-260-3274. Caregiver support is 1-800-342-9647. 1-800-342-9647. Home care, if you are in a situation where you need home care, that number is 1-877-222-8387. If you have questions regarding the benefit debt, and you're not able to make the full payment, need to make partial payment, the number to call is 1-800-827-0648. Again, 1-800-827-0648. And healthcare debt, if you are not able to take care of all of that, that number is 1-888-827-4817. Again, 1-888-827-4817. And in a minute, I'll give you the homeless hotline. But those are numbers because the VA, the regional VA in the CBOX community clinic has pretty much all been closed. So everything has been done by telemedicine or ordering your prescription through the mail. They're gradually reopening. So that's why I was giving you those numbers.
One thing that I found out yesterday, I was at Fort McPherson yesterday doing some lab work, and they told me yesterday that they are not working like they used to, every day, all the hours that they used to work, that they have like from Monday through Thursday that they're working now, and Wednesdays are days that they're using for walk-ins. The rest of the days you have to have an appointment in order to be able to get in. Otherwise, you won't be served. So if you are living here in Atlanta and you're using the medical facilities at the old Fort McPherson, uh, please call them before you make a trip over there, unless it's a Wednesday that they can, take care of any walk-ins. All the other days are not. They will not let you in unless your name is on their appointment list.
Yeah, that is good information.
Anthony's back.
Mr. Anthony, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear you better now.
Is it better? Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
we can.
That's good. That's good. I apologize with that, but it's the system. But
It is. So before you left, we were talking about how in the last 10 days, the uprising and the demonstration and the awareness that been put out there. What are your thoughts on what actual changes are going to happen? Not what we want to happen, but in real life, what actual changes are going to happen?
Well, I think, as I said, I'm going to go back to the voting. It's going to have to be a top-down driven decision. I don't feel bad about reading about police officers leaving the force en masse. If they're leaving the force en masse, then they don't agree with probably trying to change.
Exactly.
That code blue of silence and all that, let those scumbags leave.
Exactly.
Get out of here. There are other people out there that can be employed that would follow a system and treat people with respect. Just take a look. That 75-year-old man in the state of New York, Buffalo, New York, a peace advocate, was walking down the street just to talk to the police, and he was bowled over, cracked his skull, blood coming out of his ear. Do you know he can't walk right now?
Oh,
He can't walk. He cannot walk. Or in Louisville, Kentucky, where a young lady's in an apartment with her boyfriend with a no.
You went away again.
Yeah.
Door and shoot her 8 times. And the police go around the country, and you see all of these issues and actions going because we have a police force that is totally out of control. Young man that was killed in Minnesota, that officer had 19 complaints against him. 19.
19 complaints.
The officer killed him there, and they had 12. But yet they're in a neighborhood, and they have a clear conscience in dealing with the public. Hell no. They want to leave, the door is right over there to your right or left.
The door is open. Don't let it hit you in the back.
We don't need you around.
Yep.
So the door is open. Get kicked in the butt, leave it. One. But the slaps.
Yep.
That's what's important to me.
I know that
your son and your daughter in the streets being stopped. They even had a gentleman the other day that was riding 65 an hour, 5 miles below the zone, the speed limit, and was stopped. Driving in a car that they don't believe he should have, he must have stolen it. Are their own prejudices? So police reform, we need their prison reform. We need people to get off of their dead butts and go vote. Get these bad people out of office. Now, all cops aren't bad. Don't get me wrong. There's some very, very good officers out there to be, do good for the public. But for those individuals, you talk about, there's always a bunch of bad apples. Man, please.
There's,
They're bad apples for years.
yeah, apples don't
A
kiss
lot of
you.
them retired. Bad apples. They should be rotten by now.
Yeah, they're,
So
they're not
to
bad
answer your
apples, they're
question,
not
Herman, vote.
Okay, I believe we just used up our time, Anthony, and you pretty much summarized a great discussion that we had.
Get rid of the bad people.
I believe that we met our goal today of speaking life in the community. We gave the information and we put out good information, researchful information, and facts that we also made good suggestions on how we can change things. And so we have had a great Veterans Day program celebrating June 19th, Father's Day, and also celebrating the improving the situation that's going on in the country with both the COVID-19 virus and all of the disturbance that's taking place. So I think we are out of time, so we have to summarize it by saying,
Yes,
thank you guys for watching us. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, and we'll be back in a few weeks with another program.
just remember that we all came on the same boat. We just stopped in different stops.
Sounds great.
Happy Father's
And with that,
Doesn't stop.
We
With
made different stops.
we're gonna say have a good weekend. Safe weekend.
Happy Father's Day, gentlemen. You all have a
Thank
happy
you,
Dad's
Petey.
Day.
Take
Take
care.
care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.